My time at Stanford, I was able to kind of accomplish a lot of success in different fields where there's like the academic side, the football side, the training side, and then the community side. And so I still have ambitions to like cross off all those goals in my future.
It's meant the world to me, and I believe since I was about 8 years old or so, because I've grown up in the area, I've always wanted to be a Stanford student athlete, and it's been just a really, really great experience for me being able to pursue academics and athletics to such a high caliber.
It has always been a goal of mine since I was little to attend college. I had always prioritized my academics, so when it came time to decide whether or not I wanted to defer my time at Stanford to compete in elite and internationally a little bit longer, or to come to Stanford, I knew that for me, the right choice was to come to school.
So I graduated in 1991. I was an art history major and was on the rowing team for 4 years. So I've been lucky enough to be in the Bay Area for a majority of the time since I've graduated. I've worked as a TA at Stanford. I've been a lecturer now for 14 years, both in the Department of Art History and Civil and Environmental Engineering. It's wonderful to be around the campus and especially around the athletes since I was a former athlete myself. I also work as advisor both to everyday students and student athletes. I'm a faculty liaison with the Stanford men's rowing team. One of the things I emphasize in my classes that Stanford has a real sense of place, and I think the student athletes really understand that more than even the everyday student at Stanford. You train here, you have your meals here, you go out and you represent Stanford as an athlete, so that idea of a sense of place is something that Stanford athletes really appreciate.
The term intellectual brutality that we use here I think is a perfect saying for how I play the game. The position that I play and my job on a football field is extremely violent and brutal, and so I'm batting heads with somebody every single play. But there is this intellectual side to the game, and I feel like that was one of the things that set me apart. And I want to bring that into the NFL, and I think it's just a big asset of my game. But obviously I want to play football for as long as I can, 10, 12, 15 years. After that, some part of me wants to go to business school. A lot of me wants to get into private equity, venture capital. Biggest part of me is around youth and community service, and so a large part of me wants to coach and maybe teach and be like a positive role model in some of these communities. And so there's a lot of doors that'll probably be open for me when football comes to the end, and maybe the decision will be easier then based if I play for 1 year or if I play for 20 years.
My internship with Intel was really, really exciting, definitely kind of a new experience for me because that was my first internship ever. It was in the finance department. I've always really liked statistics and working with numbers, so I really, really enjoyed working in their finance department and kind of getting to see what the real world is like. I definitely feel like I learned a lot and have gained valuable skills that I can carry with me forward in my future work career. My plans for the summer in terms of work, I was fortunate enough to get a finance internship at the NFL headquarters in New York, so that's kind of as far as I have planned right now, but definitely really excited to work in finance again, but kind of in a totally different industry.
The summer after my junior year, I had the opportunity to internship with a medical device company called Lab back home in Pennsylvania where I'm from. And over the summer, I really worked on a lot of the regulating of medical devices. I got to inspect medical devices that were being made right there in shop before they were sent out to actual surgeons to be used in actual surgeries, which was something that was super cool. And actually this summer, I'll be heading back to that company to work over the course of the summer in a different area where I'll get to actually design medical devices and customize certain surgical instruments that surgeons want made to their certain specifications. So I get to do that on a computer and then send it to the workshop to actually be made and see my products released back to the surgeons. So I'm really excited, and this is also something that I want to do in the future. I want to design new medical devices and new medical technology to make it simpler and easier to use so that it can be more accessible to people in third world countries that don't have the resources we do, so that we can kind of even the playing field with when it comes to healthcare that the whole world has access to.
Thank you to all the Buck Cardinal Club donors. We couldn't do what we do without you, and it means the world to us that you're supporting us on a daily basis.
I just want to say thank you, Buck Cardinal Club, for being able to facilitate this amazing organization, amazing university, and making my experience here more than I could have ever asked, and you guys are truly a blessing.
I'm very thankful to everyone who has donated to the Buck Cardinal Club, and I am now one of those donors, especially because I know that I've benefited a lot from everything provided from the fund, and I know that everything that I'll be giving to future student athletes will help make their Stanford experience absolutely amazing, just like mine has been.
As a former Stanford athlete and current lecturer in architectural history and theory, I hope you'll support the Buck Cardinal Club. I have student athletes every day that thrive with your support, are able to train better, practice harder, and succeed in their games with your gift to the Buck Cardinal Club. I hope you'll join me in being a supporter of all our student athletes in keeping Stanford the home of champions.